Lock the doors and pour yourselves an extra large cup of coffee, ladies, because the hush-hush unconfirmed leaks for the end of July and the first week of August just landed on my desk, and what they are planning to do to our favorite residents is downright mind-blowing. If you thought the recent chaos was wild, you are not ready for this drastic storyline shift. We are heading into a 2-week period where absolutely nothing is going to go the way anyone expects, and the behind-the-scenes whispers suggest that the power dynamics in town are about to flip entirely upside down. For weeks, we have all been waiting for Drew to finally gain the upper hand and strike back, but it seems like buried secrets are going to completely reverse the situation. The hush-hush rumor mill is buzzing with the shocking revelation that Valentine is going to secretly strike a brand new deal with Brennan regarding that infamous black box. High chances are this new agreement will completely shift the balance of power, meaning the dangerous evidence inside that box will no longer just be a weapon aimed at Drew. What if this black box contains secrets that implicate half the town? The truth might be way more complicated than a simple blackmail scheme against one man. It seems like Brennan is playing a much larger, incredibly dangerous game of chess, and he is moving his pieces with terrifying precision. High chances are Brennan is actively using both Nina and Willow as mere pawns to serve his own sinister master plan. We have seen Nina growing closer to him, trusting him, and leaning on him for support. But what if all of that affection is entirely fabricated? It seems like Brennan recognizes exactly how desperate Nina and Willow are to keep their lives intact, and he is perfectly willing to exploit that desperation to build his own empire. The unconfirmed leak suggests that the women are walking directly into a trap, fully believing that Brennan is their savior when, in reality, he might be the architect of their ultimate downfall. This brings us to the highly anticipated arrival of Hudson at the end of July. High chances are Hudson is going to quickly become the most fascinating and dangerous mystery man to step foot in town in years. On the surface, it seems like he is just a disgruntled executive desperately trying to track down Ethan for some past grievances. But what if that is nothing more than a convenient cover story? The truth might be way more complicated. Behind-the-scenes whispers indicate that Hudson's true target is actually a massive, underground network that has been secretly manipulating major events across the town for months. It seems like Ethan is merely holding one tiny, crucial puzzle piece that Hudson needs to blow the whole conspiracy wide open. High chances are Hudson is a ruthless operative who will let absolutely nothing stand in his way, and his presence is going to send shockwaves through the lives of everyone connected to this hidden network. Speaking of Ethan, there is a terrifying hush-hush rumor circulating about his ultimate fate. Everyone assumes that Ethan is simply going to pack his bags and flee town to escape Hudson's wrath, but what if he never actually makes it out alive? The truth might be way more complicated and far more tragic. What if Ethan was secretly watching from the shadows when Nina pushed Drew into the water? If Ethan witnessed that shocking moment and threatened to expose the truth, high chances are someone silenced him permanently. We have to ask ourselves, what if Nina, Willow, or even Brennan decided that murder was the only way to keep their secrets buried? The unconfirmed leak suggests that we might be gearing up for a massive murder mystery, with the police potentially discovering a lifeless body hidden somewhere in town. It seems like Ethan's luck might have finally run out, and his tragic demise will kick off a chain reaction of paranoia and betrayal. Meanwhile, over at the hospital, the dynamic between Jason and Britt is about to take a wild and unexpected turn. We all saw the spoilers about Britt slapping Jason across the face during their tense reunion. But what if that slap was not just a simple act of anger? The truth might be way more complicated. It seems like Britt is using that dramatic physical altercation as a clever disguise to forcibly make Jason her patient, allowing her to drag him into a private examination room without raising any suspicions. High chances are Britt is pulling Jason into a highly secretive and dangerous alliance. What if she has uncovered terrifying information about the hospital, the cold fusion project, or even the new board members, and she knows Jason is the only person she can truly trust with her life? It seems like this private conversation will open the door to a thrilling new partnership, especially as Jason begins to deeply suspect the shady activities surrounding Brennan and Valentine. As the tension rises, Willow is going to find herself completely cornered, and her reaction is going to shock everyone. High chances are Willow will spiral into a state of absolute panic when Harrison shows up to bring her into the police station for questioning regarding her ties to the dangerous fugitive. But if you think Willow is just going to sit back and play the victim, you are terribly mistaken. The behind-the-scenes whispers that Willow is going to launch a vicious and calculated counterattack. What if she realizes that the only way to save herself is to completely destroy someone else? The truth might be way more complicated than her sweet, saintly facade suggests. It seems like Willow will discover that Drew is holding on to explosive, devastating secrets that have the power to completely ruin Nina. High chances are Willow will coldly use this information to throw Nina straight under the bus, proving that when her back is against the wall, she is just as ruthless as the people she claims to despise. This drastic storyline shift makes the ongoing war between these families more unpredictable than ever before. Following the horrifying incident where Drew ends up in the water, the hush-hush rumor is that Gio will be the heroic lifeguard who dives in to save his life. But what if this entire near-drowning situation is not exactly what it appears to be? The truth might be way more complicated than a simple moment of panic from Nina. What if Drew miraculously recovers and immediately realizes he can use this accident to his ultimate advantage? It seems like Drew might cover up the truth of the incident, using the terrifying ordeal as leverage to ruthlessly blackmail his rivals into absolute silence. High chances are he will hold this dark secret over Nina's head, forcing her to do his bidding while he quietly rebuilds his power base. However, if Drew thinks he can fool everyone, he is gravely underestimating Alexis. It seems like Alexis is going to be the very first person to sense that something is deeply wrong with the official story of the drowning. High chances are Alexis will completely drop her polite act and refuse to yield to Willow ever again, especially after witnessing the emotional toll these endless secrets are taking on Scout. What if Alexis decides to go on the offensive, using her brilliant legal mind to rip the truth out of the shadows? The behind-the-scenes whisper is that Alexis is preparing for absolute war to protect her family, and she will not let anyone, not Drew, not Willow, and certainly not Nina, stand in her way. At the exact same time, the corporate world is about to experience a massive earthquake. Michael is reportedly going to flex his newly acquired power at the cosmetics company, and his bold moves will perfectly coincide with the highly anticipated return of Serena. It seems like Michael and Serena are going to quickly recognize the immense value in each other and form an incredibly powerful, ruthless business alliance. High chances are this new partnership will pose a direct existential threat to anyone attempting to control the company. But what if this powerful new bond causes intense collateral damage? The truth might be way more complicated for Jacinda. It seems like Jacinda will start to severely doubt her own place in Michael's life and business as Serena takes center stage. High chances are Jacinda's growing jealousy and insecurity will push her to make a desperate, destructive move that could sabotage everything Michael is trying to build. On the other side of town, the mob world is facing its own quiet crisis. Sonny is reportedly going to summon Jason and hand him a highly specific, dangerous new mission. But what if Jason finally says no? The hush-hush rumor is that Jason is going to face the most difficult and heartbreaking choice he has encountered in decades. After everything he survived during his captivity, the truth might be way more complicated than his usual blind loyalty to Sonny. It seems like Jason is going to make the conscious decision to put Danny above the mob, above the violence, and above Sonny's endless wars. High chances are that if Jason refuses this mission, it will serve as the ultimate, undeniable signal that he is permanently walking away from the criminal underworld to begin a peaceful new chapter as a devoted father. This drastic storyline shift will undoubtedly leave Sonny feeling betrayed and entirely isolated. While Sonny deals with his fracturing empire, the romantic drama is reaching a boiling point. Rick is reportedly becoming increasingly possessive and obsessed with Elizabeth, and Dante is unintentionally making the situation a million times worse. The unconfirmed leak suggests that Dante and Elizabeth are going to spend a lot of time together practicing for an upcoming softball tournament, sharing innocent laughs, and building a deep, trusting bond. But what if Rick witnesses this closeness and completely loses his mind? It seems like these softball practices are going to trigger a terrifying level of jealousy in Rick, pushing his already fragile relationship with Elizabeth to the absolute brink of collapse. High chances are Rick's dark, manipulative side will fully re-emerge, and he might orchestrate a cruel scheme to punish Dante and isolate Elizabeth, proving that he has not changed one bit. Meanwhile, the terrifying situation surrounding Trina is going to escalate into a full-blown nightmare. Everyone currently suspects that Quinn is the creepy stalker following her every move, but what if Quinn is nothing more than a cleverly placed red herring? The truth might be way more complicated. High chances are that Simon, the seemingly charming music producer, or perhaps a completely new and unhinged character, is the true mastermind watching Trina from the shadows. It seems like Trina is going to make a chilling discovery, realizing that she has been monitored for a very long time, and the stalker's ultimate goal is far more sinister than simple obsession. What if the stalker is connected to the underground network Hudson is investigating? The behind-the-scenes whisper is that Trina's life is in grave danger, and the people trying to protect her might be looking in the completely wrong direction. As if that wasn't enough psychological terror, Anna is going to be fighting a horrifying battle inside her own mind. The hush-hush rumor is that her terrifying hallucinations of Peter are going to intensify, placing immense, crushing pressure on her fragile psyche. It seems like Peter's ghostly presence will constantly whisper in her ear, pushing her down a dark, destructive path. High chances are Anna will be forced to make an impossible choice. Will she rely on her training and pursue true justice, or will she surrender to the hallucinations and let pure, unadulterated vengeance guide her actions? The truth might be way more complicated, and her ultimate decision has the power to drastically alter the fates of several key residents in town. Finally, the legal landscape of the town is about to be shaken to its core. The unconfirmed leak reveals that Diane and Alexis are going to officially hire a brand new partner for their prestigious law firm. But what if this newcomer is not just a random attorney? High chances are this new partner will arrive carrying explosive, deeply buried secrets that possess the power to tear the entire town apart. It seems like this mysterious lawyer will act as the catalyst for a massive wave of new, vicious legal battles that will force everyone to choose sides. These upcoming weeks are not just going to be about secret alliances, bitter betrayals, and desperate power grabs. They are going to introduce dangerous new enemies that no one saw coming. Keep your eyes wide open and trust absolutely no one, because the shadows are about to swallow someone whole before the month is over.